Hi, my name is Michele Landers, and welcome to my living room and the third show of Divinely Inspired by the Numbers. And I'm so happy to be with you today and so happy to be part of the Enlightened World Network. And I just like to remind people every week Enlightened World Network is just a wonderful place to find peace and to find calm and emotional and spiritual support during these very, very challenging times. And you get all sorts of wonderful support and information from inspiring light workers who all are so eager to share their expertise, and that's through classes and meditations and uplifting conversation. So please continue to check out EWN and all it has to offer. So I do like to begin each class by bringing our focus in, because I find that we are so better able to receive information, and whether that's from this show, or who knows, maybe during the show you get some inspired thoughts that pop into your head, and certainly share that with us because we'd love to hear it. So right now, I'm just going to ask you, get comfortable wherever you are. Just get comfortable. I always ask everyone, just loosen everything that's too tight. Shake your shoulders, close your eyes, and just take 3 deep cleansing breaths. And the way I would love for you to do it is to breathe in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth with a deep ah. I just find that loosens things just a little bit more. So 2 more times. In through your nose, out through your mouth with a big ah. And 1 more time. In through your nose, out through your mouth with a big ah. And just feel your shoulders drop down a little bit. And imagine that there is a beautiful healing light entering in through the top of your head. And you can feel these beautiful rays of love and healing energy just flowing through your entire body like giant waves of peace and love and healing, relaxing your neck and your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your chest, your stomach, your thighs, your calves. And now repeat these words. I am healthy. I am happy. I am strong. I am worthy. I am whole. And just bask in the warm glow of this healing. Now take another deep breath in and out. And open your eyes. So here we are again. And before I bring in my very special guest, and they're all special, and I just love Jeryl Anne so much, and she also is part of EWN. and present so many wonderful programs with my other friend, Terry Angel, in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. I think it's pretty much all day. So before I bring Jeryl Anne on and we talk about her incredible chart, let's talk a little bit about numerology. And here it is, May. And I, for one, was thinking about this and I'm going, oh, dear Lord, here it is, May. And that is really hard to believe. I mean, isn't it? Even though we may feel like it's Groundhog Day every day, I feel like the time is still moving at warp speed. Just think about it. In less than a month, just about a month, a half of the year is already gone. So part of numerology is about understanding the vibration and energy in all things, because I'm pretty sure that we all know that we live in this energetic matrix and we're all vibrating and everything is vibrating. And that's what makes numerology so incredibly insightful, because it interprets numbers and letters and what the vibration is and what's more personal than your name and birthday. And it's kind of like your, not kind of like, it is your contract that you came into this world with, and to decode it, you just learn about numerology, and it tells you what your path and your passion is, your challenges, your purpose, your mission. It's a wealth of information. But let's talk about May, and I'm sure everybody would like to know, okay, what can we expect from May? And one of the things I found really interesting is, I just want to mention that this virus pretty much showed no discrimination, right? It had no allegiance to one sect of the population. It's pretty much crossed all party lines, race, creed, color. It doesn't make any difference. I'm sorry, I just had a little glitch with my computer. And so for the first time, we're all fighting this common enemy. And though I do believe without a shadow of a doubt, we're all unique, we all have special gifts and talents. What one thing we absolutely do share is our humanness. We are interdependent, and our individual lives are without a doubt dependent on one another. So it is my hope, and so many other people in this world, that this awareness and understanding has somehow embedded itself into our minds and our hearts. So for the month of May, the universal vibration, and I just want to make this distinction, there is a universal vibration, and then each country, each state has its own vibration. So briefly, the universal vibration is a 9. And if anyone out there understands numerology, you know what 9's about, right? It's about humanity, but it's also about endings. It's about letting go. It's about clearing out. So, of course, the first thing that came to mind when I saw the 9 was, okay, is this going to be the clearing out of COVID-19? And I do hope and have faith that by the end of May, that is in fact true. It's also a month of global cooperation, but as all numbers have their flip side, it's also a lot of emotional turmoil and some flare ups. And that's actually, it's the beauty of the numbers. They give a gift and they also give you a challenge. And think about this virus. And as again, it showed no discrimination. So let's just hope that we are learning the lesson that we need to. So even though life has thrown us this major curveball, and I guess we're way past the denial stage, we still are kind of in the nail biting stage. What's going to happen next? Now, The United States has a little bit of a different vibration. It's an 11, I do believe, yes, let me say it's an 11-2. So for the US, emotions are going to be really kind of running high. We may be witnessing a lot of anxiety in our country, in our family unit. We may feel, actually, I think this is going to be a big part of it, feeling like we're being pulled in opposite directions. We are over being sequestered away, but we're probably fearful of going out. So it's so important that we maintain some type of balance. And it's so important that we cooperate. And we need to understand and have compassion and cooperation, because this is really a challenging time this month. We can also find that we may be being pulled again in opposite directions, and it's kind of a demanding month. It's full of surprises, unusual happenings, as well as some surprising information. So I'm hoping that's going to be some really good surprising informations. And I think because there's so many people who are praying and doing intentions and sending out positive energy, I hope that that is the case. I can't believe, with everything that's going on and all our love being sent out, that that's not going to make a difference. So again, we're going to really need patience, but please note this: in an 11-2 month, in a 22 year, our ability to reach higher vibrations is really enhanced and heightened. So you really want to stay in touch with whatever helps you to ascend. And I would again suggest stay in touch with Enlightened World Network, because everyone here is interested in helping everyone else to grow and evolve, and also to cooperate and have compassion and love. So what's so interesting is, despite the real challenges we're facing in this 22 vibration year, we're also witnessing the gift of the 22, which is an absolute surge of spiritual communities rising up. And gosh, that has been so apparent. So the 22 is really doing its job. And that's kind of briefly what I pulled up about May and the numbers. And again, numerology is just about understanding the energy in all things. And I think what I'd like to do right now, let's see if there was anything else I wanted to share with you about May. I think that's it. Only that, look, we can't open the door to the new, right? Unless you close the door to what's ended. So be really mindful of that. And it's a good month again for letting go, and a good month for reaching inward and also upward to our higher self. So now what I would like to do is bring on my wonderful guest, Jeryl Anne. And Jeryl Anne, are you there?
I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
So Jeryl Anne, how are you today?
Oh, honey, I'm great. And thank you so much, Michelle, for having me on. Your book is my
Oh,
Bible. I
oh my
love this
God.
book. I
Oh,
got to
thank
meet
you.
you, I think it's been almost 2 years ago now. And I love this book. I have been a numerology compared to you hobbyist for about 3.5 decades now. And
Wow.
when I was told about your book a couple years ago, I just fell in love with it. So I'm excited to be here with you
Thank
today. And of course,
you.
I got to see you speak at Angel Speakers Live in 2018.
Yes, yes.
You were amazing. You were absolutely amazing. You had me captivated. So this is a thrill for me. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness. Thank you. And you are my new agent. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. You're my new agent. Thank you for that. That's very sweet. Well, I'm passionate about it, but I have to say, if you've been studying this, even as a hobby for 30 years, 30 plus, whatever, you must know a lot about numerology.
I know,
And
I know some.
you know some, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So the interesting thing about your chart and everyone's chart that I've been doing, it's no coincidence. There is so much high energy in everybody's chart that I've been doing, and I'm thinking, okay, it makes sense because they're connected somehow with EWN, watching it and being involved. So they have that mindset, so it would make sense that it would show up in their name.
Mhm.
And you, my dear, uh, it's big energy in your name. Big energy in your name. Now you already know that your life path is a 7, correct?
Right.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, but there's so much to pull out of your name. So the basic suggestion with your name and your life path, what the universe is wanting you to do, well, there's a number of things. Absolutely be a teacher. But the challenge of your name is to tame your emotions and find a balance in your life.
Hmm.
And because you have the energy, this is what you brought in. This was the contract you made with the universe. Okay, I'm going to go into this lifetime and I'm going to be passionate about whatever I do. And I'm going to be really like into this and then into that. And when I do something, I'm going to do it not just, I don't even know what the expression is. Like, it's not like you go into anything, there's nothing that you go into halfway.
Right.
If you go into it, you are all in plus.
Yes, yes.
So the natural issue or challenge with that is you could get too caught up with that and then just go over the deep end.
Yes.
So you already know that what you big lesson in your life is balance,
Hmm.
and to tame some of that emotional energy because you're very restless, I think, as well. Is
Yeah.
that part of?
Yeah, and that's really interesting you would say that because like I said, I've done numbers a while, but you come at it in a more in-depth way. And I've never had anyone explain it to me quite like that. And yes, I am an all-in kind of person. And it's a great reminder to me because this is where I'm at right now, trying to find some balance in my life because with everything the way it is,
Yeah.
uh, trying to ground. This is really insightful. Thank you. This is good.
Well, there's more.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm all
Okay.
in.
You are. Thank you for that. Well, I know that you're highly sensitive,
Yeah.
and you've been that way since a child, I think, no doubt. And I think possibly when you were younger, you may have even though you have all this energy, which I saw, and this restlessness, you may have suffered from shyness and a lack of self confidence when you were younger.
All the way up until recently,
Okay.
desperately so. Yeah, actually, still working on it.
Okay, because that's always again so interesting. You see one thing that you have all this energy and all this intensity, and then some of the other numbers and letters say, yeah, but you know what? Guess what? This was around for a while, this feeling of oversensitive or suffering from shyness or lack of self-confidence. And this is what the universe wants you to build up, is your confidence, because you're very, very bright. So in your life, you probably had a tendency of going to extremes, fluctuating between, no, I don't even care, and then like over caring about everything and worrying too much about everything. And then having, some fears, but that really goes back to, lack of confidence. But here's the really good news, your life path and all the numbers that support it means that you are definitely a teacher. You're someone who's here to teach. And the even though I would say, okay, you could be a teacher of any, in the regular everyday world, be a teacher, but the leaning is, or the pull for you in this lifetime is to be a spiritual teacher or even a minister or a priest. But the other thing that your name and your birthday indicate, whatever it is that you do, you have absolutely got to find that one thing and specialize in it. You got to go in, focus on that, specialize in that, and that's what you're meant to do, because you are meant to be, without a doubt, a spiritual, a great teacher and a great spiritual teacher. Um, the other thing I did notice as an aside is there is this dramatic side to you. And I was wondering if you're like attracted to the theater or ever wanted to be involved in the theater, or do you just like the theater? Is there
I
any?
I grew up behind the scenes in the theater, in the
Okay.
community theater, and that I've always, even when I was in broadcasting for 12 years, I've always
Oh,
been a
wow.
behind the scenes girl because of my severe shyness and lack of self-esteem. I've just been too afraid, and I'm 6'1".
Wow.
So as you know, so I have been ridiculed and bullied. So I never wanted to be out there in front of anyone for fear people would make fun of me. So this has
Mm.
been something that I've worked very hard at overcoming, especially recently in the last 7 years since I got sober.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, all of that makes sense because there was theater and drama involved somehow. I didn't know how it would involve you, but I that came up strongly. I pick out the things that, because there's a lot of things that everybody, can be interested in, but that was like a strong characteristic. You could also write. Do you write?
Well, when I was in television, I was a writer, producer, director. So I've been a writer as a career several times.
Okay, okay. That's amazing. Okay, so that I can check that box. And here's another one. You could also, whether you believe it or not, you might want to think about it. You could even be a composer, compose music.
Oh, that I've never thought of. That never has been in my wheel. I never even thought of it being in my wheelhouse.
Okay, well, just think about that because the writing talent showed up, but it's also what also showed up was being talented as a composer. So, just file that away
I will.
and the things to look at, things to eventually look at. So your success comes from everything that I just mentioned and also kind of settling down, whether that's physically, mentally, or spiritually, and sticking to one thing and having that be your main focus. And that's where your success comes from, in staying with that. And of course, developing your self confidence, stepping into your power, which we could all use, knowing really honoring your gifts, because you do have gifts and you are talented and you are bright and you are a spiritual teacher. So honoring that in yourself. And I know that that can be a challenge for some of us, but gosh, part of our life path here and our purpose, as I say over and over again, is when you discover what your talent is, you have to gift that to the world, because that's important. We all have these gifts that, and the purpose of those gifts is to share it with the world because we're not alone. So it's great to have a gift, but then if you're not sharing it, it's like the heavens go, really? Come on. You've got this gift, share it need one another. And that's the point I always, want to drive home whenever I do a chart with someone, whatever your gift is. And I know people are sick of hearing me say this, but it's true. If you love ice cream and you make good ice cream, then be the best damn ice cream maker, because people will love that. That people will
Absolutely.
appreciate that. I sometimes watch this show called Unique Sweets, and it's amazing. These people who have found these different ways of creating pastries or cakes or whatever, and they pour their whole heart into it, and people respond to that and love it. So, whatever it is that you do well, your job is to share it with the world. And that's a message for everyone. So, I do also think that you've had more than one awakening in your life. Is that possible?
Absolutely. Yes. The first time I woke up was about 35 years ago. And I was just all in on my spiritual path. In fact, I even opened up a metaphysical bookstore because I could not
Oh,
read enough. And my ex said it'd be a whole lot cheaper for us to just open up a store, because I would go in and buy bookstores out. I was voracious, anything spiritual. I want to read it. I wanted to read it. I couldn't get enough. And then I had uh, I kind of went all in on some addictions, and I fell away from my spiritual path. And what I have found is when I am not on my spiritual path, my life kind of goes completely falls apart, if you will.
yeah.
And even though I would dabble off and on and study and do things, the addictions really had the control of my life. And 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago now, I got sober, and that was the first part of my recovery. And at
Oh,
that time, I just said, okay, God, I'm all in. My life is yours.
mhm.
I'll wake up. You just tell me where to go, what to wear, what to do,
Yeah.
and I'm all yours. And that
Wow.
was my second awakening.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And I'm
That's,
now, I just became an ordained minister
oh,
uh, uh,
wow.
in a non-denominational church. And so that took about a year and a half to accomplish. And so now I'm actually Reverend Jeryl Anne Peterson.
Reverend.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
which goes along really well with my numbers.
It perfectly. Oh my goodness, that is. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Okay, so Reverend Jeryl Ann. I like that.
me too.
Okay, so you have had more than one awakening, and
Yes.
you your entry into this lifetime, you had, because of the energy in your name, you had this desire and this feeling to want to experience all that life had to offer. And that kind of, sets you on this path to taste, touch, and feel things. But
Mhm.
always in the back was, okay, taste, touch, and feel things. You're going to go through some challenges, but we want you to bring it back to where you can share your experiences. And as I say in the program, experience, hope, and what is it? Share your experience, hope, and faith, or whatever it is, with others. And that's where I see where you are right now, which is really, really, really a beautiful thing, because all your experiences have shaped you and allowed you to really have a lot of understanding and compassion for other people. And that's so important. So important.
Yeah, I
So,
see that as a really major thing in my life. That some people say you had such a rough life. I don't see it that way. I see it as I really got to experience a lot of things. I came here to experience a lot of things
yeah.
so that I had a broad base of knowledge to and compassion to help a lot of people, as opposed to, like real small niche.
You got it. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful if everybody could find their passion and their purpose? And then, and our passion and our purpose is, I would say, 100% aligned with what you love to do more than anything. And even in when I do, when I do life coaching with people, one of the things I will ask people is, what did you love to do when you were a kid? And sometimes it sounds like outrageous things until, you start going deeper and deeper and you find out that there's that nugget in there of what they really love to do. So if you just follow that, what a happy world this would be, right? If
Oh, it
everyone's,
would.
because the other thing I always say is happy people don't do mean things. They just don't. So if everybody was a lot happier what they were doing and not forced or feel forced by whatever those pressures are, whether it's parents or the world or somebody else told them, if everybody did what they really wanted to do, it would kind of all even out. And people who were really drawn to politics because of their heart, they wanted to. Politics is really about brotherhood. If they did that, the people who really want to make a difference for the world or the or country, they would naturally, to that, and the farmers would be drawn to that, and the bakers and the teachers and so on. So maybe that is exactly, well, hopefully that's where we're going. The other thing I noticed is, although you have a lot of friends and acquaintances, one of the other challenges in your life, and you can tell me if this is true or not true, but did you have an issue with, allowing people to get too close to you?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a tendency to be more guarded now. Um, uh, I had a couple of very, very close relationships that fell apart, and it it created a fear within me. So opening up my heart again and working at allowing others in is really important to me, but a challenge for sure right now.
Got it. Yeah. Well, that showed up too. That's part of your lesson, and I understand that that is, without a doubt, that's a challenge, because when you've given all and then you feel like you've been attacked or abandoned or hurt or betrayed, we tend to want to put a wall up. And that's the other area we've got to find a balance. And specifically in your chart, to find a balance there is to open up and allow other people in. And the more that, and as I've seen that you've grown so much and you continue to grow, and hopefully that's true for all of us, then we get to be more discriminating. We get it. We just know, right? It's a knowing who to
Yeah.
let in and who to just say, okay, I just want to maintain a little bit of, distance. Um, you're highly compassionate. You absolutely need your freedom, whether you're married or single, you need your freedom. And and that's fine. So
Yes,
I would
for
never
true.
suggest that you have to change that. That's part of your DNA. That's how you were born, and that doesn't need um, any correction, except only to say is, part of it was like, as long as you don't overdo it. But yeah, you need your freedom. You need some variety in your life. You need to be able to express artistically and creatively. Your mind goes deep. Your mind goes really deep, and you're very analytical, and you will never, ever, ever, ever stop wanting to learn and grow. That's also just part of who you are, and God bless you for that, because that's what we need in the world, right? People who,
Yes.
say, hey, I want to, I'm teachable, and I want to learn more, and I want to know more. And sometimes, and I'm sure you're the same way, people say, wow, boy, you know so much. And I go, I don't really know anything. The more I learn, the more I realize I have so much more. I'm amazed at things, especially when I start looking at like quantum physics. Not that I understand it, um, but I do like to read about the quantum world and it fascinates me. So, what do I know? Not, I'm not really a lot. I have a lot more to learn, you know? And
I
that's not to
agree.
put down what I do know about numerology or anything. It's just that I want to always be teachable. Um, and that for you, that's your life path too, is you will always want to learn and read and learn and read and learn. Um, okay, so you are in you're in a 7 personal year. Now that's very interesting because your life path is a 7. And whenever we're in the same year as our life path, that's usually significant. It's a destiny year. So the 7 is all about spirituality. It's about learning and growing and teaching. So all of those things should be right, like at the top of the list this year, your priorities. And it's also a good time, which I hear that you're already doing. It's a great time when you're in a 7 year to take personal inventory and think about what's really working in my life, to
Yes.
take down the ego's um, conversation or whatever that is, saying, oh no 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 no, you really need this still in your life. Being brave and having a conversation with your ego and saying, you know what, I think I need you to take a back seat for a little while, because I got to start looking at what I need, that what's working, what's not working. Because I think in a couple of years, there's going to be another kind of cleansing for you. You may move, I don't know what it is, but I picked that up from here. And it's kind of a year that you feel like, I don't know, I've got to just come up with a new game plan. And that might have started off the year or been the end of last year. We started saying, I've got to do things differently. I want to keep growing and learning, and I've got to do things differently. Now, there's so many great things about this year, and one of the great things is that more so than ever, you're going to have more calm and more inner determination. And it's really possible that maybe there was a project or a goal that you had a few years ago that you had in mind, and now it's starting to manifest, or it's starting. Does that make sense in any way?
Yes, it makes complete sense. And I was told I needed to come out of hiding, and I started doing my weekly show, Rising Up with Jeryl Anne, and I'm starting to really put myself out there. And everything you're saying from the teaching, that's what I love. It's my passion. And spirituality is my passion. I eat it, I drink it, I breathe it, I sleep it. It's what drives me. It's what motivates me. And so I'm starting to get out there and teach again and to be more present in the world.
Wow.
It makes total sense. And right now with this COVID-19, it's been a greatest blessing for me because I have gone on a spiritual journey during this time to disassemble the egoic structures and really come into my higher self and my higher self's vision for my life. I'm 62, and of course, as you know, and I see that this is the next phase of my life. And that's just even not even talking numbers, but just was that intuitive. This is where I'm at now. Where do I go from here? And everything you're saying is so spot on, because that's exactly what I'm doing right now in this moment of time. dissolving the egoic structures, whether it's low self-esteem, whether it's competition, comparison, jealousy. I mean, them all. They're just all
Yes.
up in my face going, hello, I'm
Oh,
talking to
wow.
you. You need
Wow.
to move forward. It's
Wow.
been an intense like month and a half, like
Yeah.
actually 3 months.
Okay. And that makes perfect sense with what you're going through because it is a year of pulling inward. And again, it's about re-examining the important issues in your life. And I so applaud you and am so in awe of the fact that you can have these conversations like with your inner self and your ego, because as you know, the ego goes around with a big measuring stick. You
Yes.
know, it's never, the ego is never, not to bash the ego, but the ego is never happy with things just being. The ego is either saying, I'm better than you or I'm worse than you, or I have more what than you, I have less. It's the ego exists only by comparison and measurement. So I think that's beautiful that you're, understanding about the ego and the part that it plays. And its part, it thinks it's protecting us from being killed. That's really what it is. And of course, we know there's no real death, so there's nothing to protect us from. So I think it's beautiful that you are, and this is what I love about numerology. When you understand it, and you get inkling, even if you don't know numerology, if you get a hint of what you're supposed to do, as you have, and you follow that, the rewards are incredible because you're following what the energy is of a 7 year. And I would suspect that it's bringing you great, rewards in so many ways because it's saying, okay, Jeryl Anne, this is what you need to do this year to be in alignment with your higher self, with your contract, and you're doing that. So I think it's wonderful. So there's going to be a lot of other mini enlightenments for you this year. Um, you're gaining a mastery over the ego part of you, which is beautiful. It's great to be inward, to go inward. Um, okay, so also during a 7 year, and this might have happened already or it could happen, but people that you haven't seen in a while will reestablish contact with you. And I know that right now that's kind of possible to get physically in contact, but I do believe that people of the past will be contacting you or have contacted, will be wanting to reestablish some kind of connection. Um, it's a major transition year again for you. And there is also an element of fate, which simply means if you pay attention, that fateful events will occur, that it's all leading you to your destiny. And because you are in touch with your higher self and paying attention to your intuition, I think you'll be able to spot it pretty easily. You're also really protected from any uh, serious problems this year, or it's just, the universe is always holding us. I don't want to say something that's really not accurate as far as my belief goes, but this year it's like they're so close to you because you're letting them in. um, it is a year that you need patience for sure. It's not the year to push anything because by God, things will just come to you. It's a great time to be in introspection, reevaluation, self analysis. Um, it's just thinking about things. What else do I see here? Well, I said it's a Spiritual, it's kind of a sabbatical year. It's a huge transitional year for you as well. And even if other people may seem unreasonable for whatever reason, you have to just view everybody all with a lot of compassion and say, okay. If you don't like what they're doing, it's like, okay. Um, the other,
that.
huh?
I love that. It's just like, okay, doke.
Oh, right. Kind of, all right.
Yeah.
Another thing which is so interesting, and this came up, is keeping secrets. So more so than usual, you might either hear of situations of involving others that you have to, keep that to yourself, or you may have other information even about yourself that you'd rather not share yet. The energy is secretive, but it's not in a bad way at all. It's inward secretive. So it's keeping your own counsel, um, paying attention again to your higher self. It's really important for you to rest as much as possible. You don't want to push yourself. And what I saw, which was really nice, is you're also in an astrological house transit of 11. And that is different than, well, it's similar to, I always have a hard time explaining this because my teacher, Kevin Quinn Avery, taught me about these astrological house transits that are, in reality, according to him, a numerological transit, but they seem, the energy of them sound very much like an astrological house. And that just doesn't seem to make sense, but I do know it works. So, with all that gobbledygook being said now, to really confuse people, let me just say you're in an 11 astrological house transit, which is a numerological transit, and it's all about your personal hopes and wishes, bringing all of that to the forefront. It's like settling in with your, as we say, your tribe, so to speak. It's getting help from influential friends. It's being involved in organizations. It's new contacts. To a degree, it's social, your social life, but it's it's a really wonderful transit of just flowing with the energy of whatever it is that you love and being involved with all of those organizations that support you and love you, and you're going to make a lot of new friends, and it brings like this camaraderie and this connection with other people. It's kind of like we're saying, okay, well, the universe is saying, okay, so not only is this a big transition year, but we're going to bring you plenty of help to support your goals because you're on the right path here, and it's beautiful, and we're supporting you, and we're here for you, and we're going to connect you up with people who are like-minded. So,
That's
um,
exciting. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I think it's great. I was really excited when I was done. And there's more about your chart, your achievement, your first life. You probably have a really good sense of humor too, don't you?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you come up with things at times. Um, and most of your energy is in the box that I call it, but it's not really a box, of really wanting to travel and experience things. Actually, travel is really good for you, by the way.
Awesome. I'm anticipating a bit of travel once this summer, once everything kind of slows down. Terry and I are going to go again, learning something new. I want to get my angelic Reiki master degree. So we're going to
Heard
get that
that.
so that we can teach. Yeah, I love to teach. I love it, love it, love it. And I always learn things, whatever it is I want to teach. I I put myself in a position where I have to teach it so that I can learn it more. Does that make sense? If I put myself in that corner of, okay, I really want to know about this. Okay, so I'll teach it.
Yes.
So if I do that, then I have to learn everything about it, whether it's EFT, Usui Reiki, it doesn't matter, spiritual things. I'm a rebirther. I started almost 35 years ago studying, and I haven't stopped since.
God bless you.
I love to learn, and this is like so amazing because it took a lot of the things that I know, but it gave me another take. And also what I love about this as well, Michele, is that you can know in your basic numbers, okay? And you can look up your numbers on a bazillion websites.
Yeah,
but what you do is so far beyond that. It takes the basic, which is kind of like looking at your horoscope in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And it gives you the flavor and the dimensions and the depth that you don't get any other way. So I have goosebumps when I think about it. I could not wait for today. I was so excited because, like I said, I know some about it, but you've told me things here, and I know a little more than the general population, but you just blew me away. Thank you. This was amazing. I'm so great. I look at all my notes. I'm like,
I know. Well, this is recorded, so you can probably,
I'll be playing it back for sure.
Yeah. And there's more for sure, but I do like to do that. I mean, you can look up you can go on any numerology website and you can plug in your stuff and it will give you the information. There's no doubt. And I think what I like to think that I do is I bring it to life, for someone, and how they can really, it's not a cold reading. It's an in-depth analysis of your contract, because that's what I believe this is. Why you came here, why you are who you are. And it's so important to focus on your gifts. Sure, I'll tell people their challenges or their karmic lessons, but all of that can be overcome. Even if you seem to think that you've got this really hard path, it's all about understanding your karmic lessons, challenges, and I know for all of us, it's always a challenge. Wouldn't we like everything to just be so easy?
Yes, of course. It's just not.
I don't like 2x4 therapy. I hate it, but that's how I've learned most of my life, is by that 2x4 therapy. So I think for now, that is it. And oh gosh, it's almost 2:00.
It is. And
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being so willing to hear and being open to it and validating. Thank you. Because, I also, when I do a chart, I like to be validated to know whether or not that's true or that's not true. It's important, even like if you're getting a reading with someone, right? You want to know, okay, you're on the right track there. So.
Well, I can tell you this much. It was not only was it on track, but it was, it illuminated areas that I needed illumination in. It gave me also the confirmation. This has been like I said, it's been a very intense few months. And the spiritual journey where you dive deep is not always the easiest journey. And it can be fraught with, physical and emotional pain. And on the other side, it's going to be a good thing and you're still willing to go through it. But to have this confirmation from you really I'm inspired to keep moving forward. And when I feel like maybe I'm going to, say, I just can't do it, I'm going to remember these words, because I have God bumps from head to toe. And honestly, I'm ready to hit the ground running again.
I hope so. And then if you ever have those moments of doubt, you call me.
I will call
You
you.
call me.
Absolutely.
You
Yes. Yes.
absolutely do that, because my life is about bringing joy to other people and supporting them in whatever it is that they love and want to do. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And so I am grateful, and I'm so grateful for you to have your energy in this world. So thank you so much, Jeryl Anne.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Michele. This has been really my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
Mine too. It's been fun.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's all we have time for today. It went so quick, and thank you all for tuning in. And if you have questions, post them, comments after the show. I'll see if there was any questions people had, and I'll answer. My next show is this Saturday. That's 7/8, the 9th. And what else? So, oh, also, I'm having a masterclass free May 16th, understanding your numbers, exploring your gifts, your passions, and your life path. And on that show, you're going to learn how to do your life path and what all that means. And you can go to Enlightened World Network to find out what that link is. And I'll be so happy to do that. In the meantime, I'll see you guys Saturday. Um, and have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of the week. So, bye bye.